an unelected group of people have decided that concepts like self-sovereign identity, owning your own wallet, and the freedom to control your economic agency should be removed from the masses and given to the enlightened few. In terms of what Gensler and the SEC have done, so first off, Binance is sued by the SEC for commingling funds. We had a pretty big market dump off that news. I actually, in my notes, wrote huge. It really wasn't huge for the kind of things we're familiar with in crypto, but dumped from probably around 27, 28 down to that 25.5 level of support for BTC. And really it's, this is the first big thing that has happened since those events of November of last year that seemed like a return to like bear market sentiment.
Right.
And, and I think you probably do the same, Ewok. I think it's a very valuable thing to do. But that day, and again, yesterday, I made it a point, and I'm not on Twitter all day, so I try to do this when this happens, but I wanted to get a feel of everything. Like what was the sentiment like? What are people acting like? And it was kind of a lot of that, hair on fire type sentiment, and the world is ending and all this stuff. But we weren't really seeing it in the price. And, I think like the price is obviously it's a lagging metric, but the thing with back in November and FTX and everything, you would see that sentiment and the price was following as well. That was just going to enhance that sentiment even more. So
it was pretty quick.
Exactly. And I think people just saw this bounce right off 25K, and we'll get to this, but then actually a pump off of the Coinbase news yesterday. That, people were like, oh, okay, well, maybe this isn't that big of a deal. But yeah, anyway, in terms of the actual Binance suit, Binance denies and is fighting back, of course. CZ has said as much. I actually just saw something where he said that he doesn't have to appear in court.
I heard that as well.
Technically, yeah. So what do you make of this? I mean, they're both different situations where we're going to talk more specifically about the Coinbase one, but basically the difference is, it sounds like with the SEC, with Coinbase, they're more going after these specific securities they believe Coinbase is listing, versus Binance is all other kinds of issues. And I know you've been kind of outspoken about them basically faking like volume and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that they're, the SEC brought up was wash trading, fake volume, things like that. And, we just saw it 3 weeks ago when Pulse Chain launched. We were moving up the ranks of the decentralized list, the ranking list, and we got into number 2 past Binance. And immediately these fake tokens were created with all kind of fake volume just to get their numbers back up, and they passed us back up all within several hours. So yeah, that's one of the things that they're going after them for. As well as commingling of funds. Now that is a big thing, and that that is serious because now you're talking about investors' money. What are you doing with it when they put it over into the Binance system? Are you making investments that you shouldn't be making? Kind of like what FTX did. They had a bunch of amateurs running the show over there at FTX, and that's kind of why it imploded like it did. I think there's a little bit more sophistication with the system that Binance has. They've been in business a lot longer. CZ knows what he's doing. I hate to say it, but they're pretty slick about it. So, it's just I've had a major dislike ever since. First of all, I'm glad that Hex has never been listed on that platform, either one of them. So, we're good there. But at the same time, it just makes you wonder what really does go on. Here we go, back behind closed doors with some of these companies. What are they doing? There's obviously information somewhere that gave them the reason to draw this suit, or maybe there wasn't. Who knows? Maybe they're just firing and throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. So, yeah, as far as, CZ will not come out of hiding. He'll never come to a court hearing or whatever in the United States. I think he's overseas somewhere and in hiding. I'm surprised they were able to get a suit through. Maybe they filed it on Twitter, just like the other one against CoinMarketCap was served. I'm sure somebody got his attention though, or somebody in the company. But yeah, it's just it's a weird scenario. Both of them with Binance, I could care less. I know it's a big on and off ramp, and it would hurt adoption into crypto because I know there are a lot of people that do use some of these. In fact, myself, I use Coinbase occasionally to get money in and out of crypto. So it would suck, but we keep pushing for the whole decentralized idea of things, but you still need those on and off ramps. So
yeah, Coinbase and Kraken have really been the two that I've been using as on and off ramps for the last year, basically. But yeah, you're right. And I wanted to just touch on this. Charles Hoskinson had one of the tweets of the day, I think, when the Binance news came down that CZ actually responded to as well. But Charles Hoskinson, obviously the creator of Cardano. Yeah. But he did say the other day, with respect to Binance, I'm reading through the SEC complaint. It's over 130 pages, but seems like the next in a series of steps to implement Choke Point 2.0 in the United States. The end goal is an agenda-based CBDC, obviously, partnered with a handful of massive banks and end-to-end control over every aspect of your financial life.
Yep.
Which a lot of people in the United States wouldn't mind, as terrible as that is.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Or they don't think they would anyway. A regulatory event is where you have a debate about compliance with a law or guidance. This event seems to be a political philosophical agreement with the very existence of cryptocurrencies and what they represent. An unelected group of people have decided that concepts like self-sovereign identity, owning your own wallet, and the freedom to control your economic agency should be removed from the masses and given to the enlightened few. That's just calling it as it is.
Yep.
He says, honestly, what is happening? What's happening isn't anything new, which is true. It's always the same fight between freedom and authoritarianism, just with different players, technology, and words. It does seem like this event is a perfect opportunity for the entire industry to set aside its fragmented nature, unite, yada, 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 so we don't look like, 1984 come to life, basically. So, yeah, so a really good tweet from him, and he is right, and we always have that debate in crypto of like there is a fragmented nature, there's obviously, and I don't know if that's because of the maybe like that this financial crowd skews younger. I'm not really sure what it is. Maybe it's an investment vehicle more in its infancy, but yeah, you have like the DeFi crowd, and you have specific crowds within that. You have maxis of Bitcoin and all that kind of stuff. And he is right about that. But I agree with him 100%. I mean, I don't hold any Cardano, obviously, or anything like that. But I'm totally with him that, like, yeah, this is a thing that we all should be fighting back on. I mean, that's the idea of crypto, is that self-sovereignty. So what do you
exactly? Well, yeah. I mean, the idea of it was to remove the middlemen. They want to inject more of them. It's an interesting take that Clifton Lewis has, though, too, is that it's a bluff. They know they're holding a losing hand. They're just trying to make the bad publicity because they think they, may lose the XRP case. So who knows? It is quite possible. That's a good point. I didn't think of it that way, that they, even whether they're bluffing or not,
hedging their bets.
Yeah, it's still bad press. It's bad for the space. It gives, paints a bad light on the whole crypto as a whole. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I like Hoskinson. I know he's a smart guy. And I did read through his response the other day too, and thought it was just very well stated. And he hits it on the head, knocks it out of the park.
He definitely does. He had a nice half-hour stream talking about it too, which I thought was pretty good. But yeah, he's always good in these instances. Now, the other interesting aspect of this, so the SEC mentioned there's another hilarious thing about this. So with the Binance one, they specifically mentioned Solano, Matic, Cardano, BNB, Algorand, and Atom, amongst a couple others, as what they labeled as securities. They were referring to what Binance was doing, but I think they actually, I have it all here.
I think it was Dash was one of them as well.
Yeah, just digging Dash up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, pulling that one out of the out of the skeletons, right?
Yeah, a lot of people around now probably don't even know what it is,
No.
but yeah, that amongst others, Near Protocol, actually, I saw mentioned some of these. What I'm naming, they name for Binance, some of these Coinbase, but you can tell. And our friend Sami, that I quote quite often, and he's totally right. Not that you even needed him to figure this out, but if you just look at those tokens, it's practically just like going on Coin Market Cap and going down the market cap
Yep.
list. You know, so yeah, they're just picking out the most popular tokens, calling. These are all things that you and I don't invest in anyway, and don't really talk about very much. Or obviously you guys out there can do whatever you want, but these are really like second, third cycle tokens that are not anything we're interested in. But it's still, to just slap this label on them out of nowhere like that. More irresponsibility by the SEC when you don't really give anybody any clear guidance on anything, and then you just come after them. But I did think it was interesting that they didn't mention Ethereum though in that.
No, they didn't.
Which obviously, if you go by market cap, that's going to be number 2. So,
well, yeah, and the last hearing that there was, I don't know if you remember the questioning where it was flat out, is Ethereum a security? Asked him several times and he wouldn't answer. So yeah, it's just there's so much. I got a moth in here or something. Crazy. Yeah. There's so much obscurity caused by them. I mean, they're the ones causing it because they can't be clear on anything. They won't give anybody a straight answer. People are trying to comply, and when they do, they make them wait. It's like they're not even giving them the answers that they're looking for to stay compliant. So, it's just it's a bad setup. It's almost like they're cornering them on purpose. You know what I mean?